This week we've got what I like to refer to as a mouse gun. You know, you've got compact pistols, subcompact pistols. This is really a mouse gun. This is a pocketable pistol. This is the Beretta 21A, also known as the Bobcat. There aren't a lot of 22 long rifle chambered handguns out there in this tiny size. There have been some over the years. Walther comes to mind, AMT comes to mind, as far as some other brands that made models that chamber the 22. Beretta's still in production with this gun. This gun's made in, has been made in Accokeek, Maryland, so it's a US-made Beretta, but it's a design that goes back now about 30 years. The thing that's neat about this series, and there were other models and calibers. There's also a 25 ACP Bobcat, and there's a model called the Tomcat in 32. But the thing about the 21A is, here are the controls. You've got this control up here, which is a little unusual looking, and what happens is when you press it forward, the barrel tips up. So what that allows you to do is to load a magazine into the gun. You know, let's say you've got a magazine full of cartridges. You could then take a single cartridge and load it into the barrel, then just simply close the barrel. Now the gun's completely charged in the sense that there's a cartridge in the chamber and the gun's ready to go. The other thing that's kind of nifty about the 21A is that the lock work is such that you can either carry the gun with the hammer back and then the safety engaged, cocked and locked, just like a 1911, or you can carry it with the hammer forward and the safety either off or engaged. And then of course you can just carry it or fire it in such a way that the first shot, once you have the safety off, is double action, a very relatively heavy double action pull, but then that resets the gun for single action pulls after that. And of course, in single action mode, you'll notice that the trigger position is quite a bit farther back in the trigger guard there. So 11.5 ounces for the Beretta. And of course, at that weight and this size, you don't get a lot of additional features. The sights are very minimal. You just have a notch in the rear of the slide, and then here on the assembly that holds the barrel, you've got a blade. The magazine release is a side-mounted one, which is a little unusual on guns like this because typically you'll have a European heel type release, but you do have a side-mounted push button only on the left side. And then again, you've got the barrel tip-up feature. One of the other things that is interesting about the Beretta, there's no extractor. This gun operates purely on blowback in terms of the action of its slide on the frame and in terms of expelling expended cases. So it's a simple gun in terms of the number of parts. Two closing thoughts I'll mention on the Beretta are this. You know, one of the most important things with any handgun, but certainly a self-defense pocket handgun, is that when you draw that gun and get on that grip, it should point naturally for you. If you look somewhere, and if your index finger's aligned along the barrel axis of that gun, and you point the gun at something, you know, it should essentially fire where you're looking. I mean, it should be a natural relationship between the grip frame and your hand. The Beretta has that, I think, at least for those people who are 1911 shooters and people who are familiar with that grip frame. The other cool thing about the Beretta is that even though it has these very minimal sights, and typically you're using a gun like this at very close ranges, close contact distances almost, Crimson Trace actually makes laser grips for the Beretta 21A. So it can be updated with that very high-tech method of aiming the gun. 21A is a cool gun, still being made. So for more on the 21A and other Berettas, visit Beretta.com. And for more on other firearms, visit AmericanRifleman.org.